good Thursday morning. The Rangers get it done, win Game 5 at home and extend the series, send it back to Pittsburgh. Yes, some circumstances in this game that changed the game, mainly the Sidney Crosby injury. It was almost like it breathed life into the Rangers that they hadn't had for most of this series. But the bottom line is they got a shot. Just like we were talking about yesterday, as disappointing as Game 4 was, we've seen it a million times in hockey, how things can change at a drop of a hat, and it certainly did last night. Man, the Yankees continue to roll. I did not think this team was going to be this good, and maybe they hit some roadblocks throughout the season because it's a long way to go, as we say, but this team is really, really good right now. Just a stupid loss for the Mets last night. I mean, I know Tyler McGill wasn't any good, but can you sweep one of these bad teams for once? Just sweep the Nationals for once? And obviously you can't do that now with losing last night. Good morning, Jerry. How are you?
What is up? How are you?
I'm doing well. You're doing 5 hours again today, Jerry.
Something like that. Well,
5 hours.
The virus has inflicted its will on us, and so we kind of move on.
That's right. Boomer out again, of course, today with the COVID-19. Al also took a day off today. Now,
no, I don't think it's syphilis.
I don't
it could
think
be.
so either.
I don't think so.
I suppose. Do you get nasally from syphilis?
Anybody know?
Is
Mike?
The
you seem like a
question.
candidate for syphilis. You ever?
Well, I did have COVID, and that's one of the many symptoms I had.
Was syphilis?
Sniffly, like Al was not one of them.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, so Al...
Syphilis, I think, was unrelated to the COVID.
Al was not feeling well at all.
I begged him yesterday to stay home.
If you were listening to the show, you could hear how bad he was sounding, and Jerry said stay home. Al did stay home. He took a PCR test. How are you feeling, Eddie? Are you doing okay in there?
Yeah.
All right. No
fever.
No nothing. No nasally. No anything.
I've had this year, because the allergies are just the worst they've ever been.
Yeah.
I have actually had some allergy symptoms.
Okay.
And I was around my...
You sound a little nasally now.
Yeah. I was around my 4-year-old nephew, 3-year-old niece, both sitting on my lap this past weekend.
Oh, look at that.
And they're germ vectors, of course.
Yeah, of course.
So,
Vectors.
well, yeah. So the last time I was with them, I did get a cold from them, tested. And I tested over the weekend, not the PCR, the rapid, was fine. But if Al's comes back positive, his PCR, then I will then test. But I feel fine.
Okay, but you sound a little off.
But no fever.
Yeah.
And I'm not like, Al looked like death warmed over.
I agree.
And you feel fine.
Yeah.
I mean, you feel fine. All right. All right. Well, that's the status of the show right now. You're okay?
Great.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Aside from not sleeping, I'm good.
Yeah.
And I guess all of us, if Al comes back, we should probably take PCRs, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, do we still do that if you don't have any symptoms?
I don't know. I don't know what the company wants us to do.
Oh, man. Just when you thought it was over. Just when you thought you were out,
the Indians
they pull
found
you right
out,
back in.
the Guardians found out that is not the case.
Yeah, I know. Games being postponed and rescheduled again because of COVID. I thought those days were over. All right, but anyway, let's talk about this Game 5. The Rangers were dead. They were absolutely dead. I thought that they were going to go out meekly on their home ice, and then everything changed. And a lot of things changed after the Trouba hit on Crosby, and then Crosby was out, and then those goals were being scored, and they were being more aggressive, and they were testing Louis Domingue. And when you test Louis Domingue, guess what happens? You score some goals. And Joe Micheletti said it at the end of the first period. He goes, that's another period that was easy for Louis Domingue. And he was right. And this is what we've been saying now for this entire series. This guy can't be sitting back there in a rocking chair. You got to put some pressure on him. And they did, and it worked out for him. Of course, the Rangers came out like crazy and then get the 2 penalties and then have the 5-on-3 that they end up killing. And I really thought that momentum would carry them forward a little bit and did not. But you saw the Penguins go up a couple goals at that point. But really what changed everything was the Crosby leaving the game from the Trouba hit. Now, nobody is reasonable these days with these things.
No.
Nobody. Now, everybody in Pittsburgh is screaming and yelling and going nuts. An elbow went up on Crosby. He left the game. If you remember years ago, he had big issues with concussions. He was out for almost an entire year because of it. So it's a sensitive subject out there. Of course, they want to protect their guy, and they're going to go nuts. Ranger fans are going to say, well, the Penguins get every call. Sidney Crosby's a dirty player, so F you guys. I'm so happy that Trouba knocked him out of the game. Now, neither one of those takes are right. They're not.
Somewhere in the middle.
So the thing that when I look at the hit, I see someone who wanted to lay out Sidney Crosby and Jacob Trouba, of course. But if you really watch it, slow motion, slow it down, you see how Crosby slips a little bit with his left leg. Trouba, how he goes up with the elbow, isn't necessarily going for his head. And he ends up hitting him in the head with his elbow. And, of course, what we think caused him a concussion. And we'll find out if he misses any games. Now, because of that elbow, he may receive a suspension. But I do not believe, and, if I was still working in Pittsburgh and finished this sentence, they'd probably throw me out of the city. But I do not believe that Jacob Trouba was targeting the head of Sidney Crosby. I don't believe that. Now, he still may get suspended a game because it's Sid, and Sid might miss a game, and the elbow went up. But this was, 6 inches away from being a totally clean hit. And the way that it unfolded in real time, he ended up clipping his head. So that's the way I feel about it. I'm going to try to be reasonable about it today. I mean, I could sit here and basically, I could say, hell, the Penguins have gotten every goddamn call the entire series, for Christ's sakes, and starting an elimination game with a 5-on-3. And then you see some of the overturned goals and, stop whining. I mean, I do think that an elbow to the head, and when you see the elbow go up a little bit, that's a problem. But I don't think that Jacob Trouba was trying to take his elbow and take out Sidney Crosby with an elbow to the head. I do not believe that was what he was trying to do.
Well, to your point, and this is what I said to CeeLo before, when you watch the replay, you see when you talk about Crosby coming down a bit, it's Trouba's stick that goes underneath his skate, which lowers his level.
Yep.
And now, in a fraction of a second, what would have been a clean hit, now all of a sudden, instead of him getting the top part of his shoulder, now he gets the head. And I think if you watch it, it's interesting. In real time, it looks like nothing. Mm-hmm. You slow it down, and if you just focus on the elbow and the head, you think, oh, elbow to the head. But if you slow it down and you watch the entire play, you see why the elbow hit the head. To me, it's the whole package tells me not a dirty hit.
Yeah, I mean, and when you have a still shot, which a lot of people did, a still shot of it, it looks terrible. So let's say you didn't watch the game, just like you said, and you go to Twitter and you see the still shot, you go, oh, my God.
Yeah.
Jacob Trouba put his elbow right in the head of Sidney Crosby and knocked him out of the game with a concussion. But that didn't really happen.
No,
I mean,
it didn't.
I mean, it happened because he ended up, see, there's the still shot.
Yep. The still shot looks horrendous.
It looks horrendous.
Yes. But look, and this is my point. You look at his left leg.
Yeah.
That is bent because of the stick going under the skate. Otherwise, he is standing upright, and it would look a lot different.
And that is the reasonable take. It is. That's what I feel like the people who are not on either side of this should be thinking. And I would not blame a Penguin fan for being pissed off, and I wouldn't blame a Ranger fan to tell the Penguin fan to go screw, because that's what this is all about, sports fans. But if you're not either one of those and you're watching this and you're trying to be reasonable, then that's, I think, the take that you have. And he may end up getting suspended. I mean, I know that the NHL player discipline is one of those things that it's the most unpredictable thing in the world. Like, you could never guess how they're going to come up with suspensions or non-suspensions or whatever. It's just impossible to guess. And sometimes in the past, now I don't know if they've done this as much recently because I haven't paid attention that much recently, but when I was talking about hockey every day years ago, they used to judge the suspension based on if a guy missed a game or not. So sometimes if a guy got up and he was fine and he finished the game, even if it was a bad hit, you wouldn't see a suspension. Mm-hmm. But if a guy didn't get up and he missed a game or two, then they'd end up suspending the guy a game or two. So it's going to be really interesting to see if Sidney Crosby ends up playing on Friday or the rest of this series. And with, it's been a while since he had those concussion issues, but still, he's had concussion issues in the past.
And he's their star.
Yeah, and he's one of the greatest players we've ever seen.
Yeah.
So this entire, if he comes back and he's himself, I think the Penguins win the series. If not, the Rangers are going to win the next two. I'm convinced.
Well, you've got, and you might be right about that. I don't know. What I do like, though, is seeing them score in bunches like they did, whether Crosby was in or out. But they looked, that Garden crowd, and this was a big point of emphasis for me this morning. The Garden crowd to me last night, and it came through the TV loud and clear. I mean, the Igor chants, awesome. The crowd right from the get-go, awesome. Even when they're losing 2-0, the crowd's into it. So I give the fans a big assist for last night's game. But that having been said, they did things once they got back. Because remember this too. They take the 3-2 lead, and you're thinking, all right, here you go. They come, was it Gensel? He comes right back and scores right after, was it 15 seconds or whatever it was, after they take the lead.
Yeah.
At that point, Crosby or no Crosby, you can make every case that the Penguins just took the Rangers' best shot and that they were going to come out in the third period and just end it. And the Rangers didn't let it happen, and a big part of that was Shesterkin, who played well in that third period. And if he can carry that along into Game 6, whoever's playing, you got to like the Penguins have to feel some sense of, we can't let this one go. Because here's what they don't want to do. You don't want to go back to the Garden for a seventh game. Doesn't mean they can't win it. I'm not saying that.
If it comes back to the Garden for a seventh game, I mean, that's going to be an unbelievable atmosphere like you talked about, and the Rangers are going to win it. I mean, it's as simple as that. I mean, if you look like that Letang goal to make it 2-0.
Yeah.
Where Fox was pinching, he got lost, and then basically you're talking about a wide open Chris Letang from a pass from Malkin. So it's that right there was the whole series in a nutshell for the Rangers, which was basically wide open ice for the Penguin Stars, defense sleeping, and all that was going on. And then all of that changed during the course of this game, because I think the Rangers needed something to happen where they believed that they could come back and win the game and then also win the series, and it happened when Crosby went out. I mean, there's no, you can't look at this game and not see that correlation. And, without him out on the ice, it totally, like Malkin, as good as he's been in his career, and I guess he's going to be a Hall of Famer, when he has to lead the team, there's always something left to be desired there. And you saw it right away where he gets all irritated and then he ends up jumping on somebody and getting a penalty. And Gensel somehow got in the box too there. But he gets irritated. He does dumb stuff. He takes dumb penalties. He turns the puck over. So, like, if we get news today or tomorrow, we're probably not going to get news until right before the game about Sidney Crosby that he's out. Buy your tickets for round 2 if you're a Ranger fan. Buy them.
You're that confident. Look at you.
You've won because they've got all the confidence in the world. They started doing everything they needed to do offensively. The Penguins are not going to be able to keep up. I mean, Louis Domingue finally looked like we expected him to look because the Rangers were testing him. So, I mean, this is everything that needed to happen for the Rangers to get back in last night happened. I mean, it was like this was the full-blown turnaround.
All right, so give me, what do you think the odds are now for the Rangers to come back and win this series?
I'm going to say plus 175.
How do I find that?
Oh, I can find it. I'll find it really quick here.
This is where I'm not good with this stuff. These apps are great and all, but sometimes it's not so easy when I'm looking. Because I would love to know, first of all, what it was down 3-1. Clearly those odds have gone away a little bit, but good.
Plus
down
202. Plus 202, so it wasn't
That's
that
it?
far off. Yeah.
Plus 202 to come back from 3-2 down to win the series.
Yeah, plus 202.
What do you think it was before last night's game?
It was plus 650. I know that answer.
Seems like it should be more.
Crosby's out, man. And it looks like he's got a concussion, and chances of him coming back are probably...
Yeah, it still feels like it's got to be more. Like,
I
don't love that.
I don't know, man.
That to me seems... We always talk about good value.
Yeah.
I don't like the value.
Well, yeah, I mean, but it's never good value. It's very, very rarely good value.
We talked yesterday, only 30 times teams have come back from 3-1 down, and plus 650 was it?
Yeah, that is a better thing. I thought that should have been like, plus 800, somewhere around there. Same thing with when the Rangers were down 4-1 in Game 3. I thought it should have been more like plus 800 as opposed to plus 650. But that you could say that. But this right here, I'm kind of plus 202, 175 to 202 is sort of where I kind of feel about it. If it was plus 150, I wouldn't have been surprised.
So you really feel like the Rangers, this is what's going to get them going and a nice little run here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're a different freaking team. I mean, you take one of the greatest players in the history of the game off the ice in like that.
Yeah.
You saw what happened in the game.
They scored 3 goals in about 4 minutes.
What's going to happen the rest of the series? And
well,
it's unfortunate for the Penguins, but the Rangers don't care. They got to go out there and they got to take care of business.
No, it doesn't matter. Just if you end up winning this series, whether he's out there or not, don't matter. You won the series and you move on, and maybe you're back on track because this
doors
team,
open, man. Doors open.
It's funny how there were a couple of people yesterday. A friend of mine specifically. It was one guy on Twitter, and I kind of dismissed him, but a friend of mine who I talked to yesterday afternoon was like, gave me the same take of how could you say that the Rangers season, if they lose tonight, was a disappointment because there was no expectations on this team. I said, because they played a great 82-game season, expectations change.
Of course, 100%.
And to me, I don't care how they win the series. If I'm a Ranger fan, it doesn't matter. Win the series, advance. Now, you got to get 2 more games, but the whole Crosby thing, it sucks for them.
Yeah,
if
but
you're
the door's open, man. This is what you
100%.
needed.
That's
you
absolutely
were dead
right.
in the water.
Yeah.
I mean, you came from being blown out to being down 2-0 in a Game 5 in your own building. I mean, after that Letang goal, it was a disgrace for the Rangers. I mean, come on.
Really, it's been a weird. If you think about it real quick, you look at the way this series has gone. The overturned goal changes the whole complexion of the series right from the start there. You had the 7-4 game that was not a 7-4 game. That with the great comeback in the second period, the dominating 20 minutes, and then what was that last game? And then this last night is all over the map.
Yeah.
It was a strange series so far.
Yeah, it has been, but it's been entertaining as hell, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, all those goals that were scored in bunches there at the Rangers and the Penguins tying it up, that was really entertaining hockey. Fleegs asked me, what do you think the odds would have been if Crosby were healthy? It'd probably be around, I would say, if it's plus 202 now, I'd say plus 350 to plus 400.
Wow.
That's what I would think. I mean, but it's that much of a loss for them.
It's taking your star off the ice. I got it.
But tough, right?
Yep.
All right, Boomer and Gio on the Fan and CBS Sports Network.